Hey guys, welcome back to the Eaton Homestead. Today I am going to try pressure canning for the very first time. I have done water bath canning, but I have not pressure canned up until this point. So I got a pressure canner from some dear friends of ours, Steve and Peg, and I'm gonna give it a try. And I thought, what better to start with than our own carrot harvest. So these are carrots that the kids and Nate and I dug out last night. I just kind of quickly washed them. But I think what I'm gonna do here is go ahead and peel all of the carrots that are actually big enough to do slices out of for the pressure canner. And then everything else I am either going to shred it up to just freeze the frozen shreds, or I'll save it for making stock in the future. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and peel and cut off the ends and then dice up all of these carrots that are sort of big enough to go into the canner. Let's get going. Okay, so my carrots are all cut up. What's left now is stuff that's really pretty short. I was getting to the point where I was peeling more skin off the knuckles of my fingers than I was off the carrot itself. So I'm gonna save the rest of these and probably just put them through the food processor to slice them up and just freeze them that way. But I think this is a pretty good little batch of carrots. I did cut them a little bit longer or thicker than I originally would have thought that I want to, but I'm nervous about them getting too mushy. So I just wanted to make sure that there was enough like depth to them that they don't just turn into mush in there. So that's that. And then I also was peeling right into this bowl in the sink. So I've saved all of my skins and the ends that I cut off. All of this is gonna go into a freezer bag. I'm gonna throw it in the freezer so that the next time that I'm making some stock, probably out of the carcasses of the bodies of the chickens that we butchered or that we had butchered, I can also throw in some, scraps. So I can throw in these carrot scraps. I keep scraps from onions and just lots of different things to be able to add some flavor and add some nutrition to that. So that's a fun way to use up every last little bit of your harvest. And I'm gonna get ready for the next step, which is I'm going to get some jars in the oven to get those warmed up to temperature. I'm gonna set it to 200 degrees, and that will ensure that they don't crack or break when I'm pouring boiling water into it. And then I will also get all the rest of my stuff ready to get started on pressure canning. So I'm using quart jars because I'm all out of pint jars, but I think that will be okay. My family all really loves carrots, including Nate. So when we eat them with dinner, we'll go through probably a whole quart, so I'm not too worried about that. But I used up all my pints making pickles. So I'm just gonna use what I've got. I have no idea how many quarts that bowl will fill. But I'm just gonna go ahead and do 6 anyways, just because whatever, I'd rather have too many than not enough. And it's not gonna hurt anything to just heat them up. Again, the reason that we do this, so I understand, again, this is my first time using a pressure canner, but I just wanna make sure that when we pour in the boiling water that these jars don't crack or break, so we wanna bring them up to temperature. I also, as I understand it, you don't need to sterilize the jars. I would dip them in the boiling water if I was water bath canning. So this helps to sterilize them, but as I understand it, you don't need to sterilize the jars because the process of pressure canning will do that anyway. I'm not too worried about it. These are all brand new jars. I think they'll be fine. So I'm just gonna throw these in the oven. Okay, and for the pressure canner itself, I am using this Presto brand pressure canner. Again, it's a hand-me-down, but I'm hoping that I've done enough research to understand how to use this. I am using a weighted regulator, so I am going to remove one of these rings because I learned that I only need one ring to regulate 10 pounds of pressure, which is what I need for my elevation here. So I'll take one of those off. Tricky, there we go. So it's got this rack down here at the bottom. I know that's in the right way. And I am going to fill it 1.5 inches, I believe. So I'm gonna grab my canning spatula, has a ruler on the end of it. Makes it really handy. All right, so I have got my pressure canner here with 1.5 inches of water in the bottom of it. Just bringing that up to a boil, bringing it up to a simmer. I've also got my pot with the lids to sterilize those and ensure a nice good seal, as well as my pot of boiling water that I'm going to be using to pour right over the carrots themselves. So I've got all these things that I just want to give a couple more minutes to get up to temperature here, and then I'm going to fill my jars. My water is just coming to a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those jars out of the oven. Let's see how many I can fill. Pretty hot. I want to fill these until I've got about 1 inch of headspace, which is usually this ring there. There we go. A little bit overly hopeful there. Hopefully I can get all of these packed in there. At least any. Carrots are weird because they're like bulky. So now I'm just going to add some boiling water to each of these jars. use this spatula tool just to try and make sure that there's not any air bubbles in there. That helps to settle it down a little bit more too. Not sure what Luna is crying about. Somebody must be here. Alright, that's okay. And so to each of these jars, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of salt. This is canning salt. I can open the bag. Put on the lids. Just kidding. First, I need to wipe those rims. So I'm just wiping the rims with a little bit of vinegar to make sure there's nothing on there, and then we get a really good seal. Now we can add the lids. Put on the rings. Just to finger tightness. And into the canner. So that is all sealed up, and now I am just going to wait for it to come up to pressure, to build some pressure in there. So we should see this little button pop up, and also we should begin seeing some steam coming out of there. All right, so we got this up to pressure. It's been boiling for 10 minutes now, just steam venting it, and now I'm gonna add the regulator to it. So like I said, I took off one of the rings. I just have one of them on there. And we want to get this to dance. See how long this takes. But once we get it just slightly rocking, we're going to set the timer again for another 30 minutes and let that go. My timer just went off. That was 30 minutes. I just turned the heat off and I am letting the pressure come down naturally on its own. Once this regulator stops dancing, if you will, then I'll take that off and I'll give it another 15 to 20 minutes from there just to make sure that the steam has all come out and that the pressure has come down before I try and open her up. I'm making Nate open it because I'm too scared. It's a lot of steam. How's it look? Oh, geez, you scared me. Nice. Well, that is super exciting. So pretty. You can still see it bubbling in there. Well, that's it for today. I'm pretty excited how these turned out, that I didn't blow up the house, and we were able to preserve some of our carrot harvest. I'm really excited to continue experimenting with the pressure canner. It's just cool to really like open our horizons on the things that we can using that rather than the water bath method. So we'll see you on the next one. Please subscribe, hit that like button. It just helps us to grow the Eaton Homesteads channel. We'll see you next time. Bye.